Hey you guys, so I don't have time to fly today, but I do have to make a video because I have the opportunity to have had some time with a piece of kit that just got released to the public as a product to the public. It used to be for the military and is super cool. Doesn't have a ton of coverage and I want to share it with you guys. It is this bad boy. This is the AV2 from Lift. Let's talk about it. All right. So, first of all, I'm in the hangar, obviously, so if you hear airplane noise in the background, it's because this is an airport, and if you don't like it, you're probably on the wrong channel. You can't really have a conversation about a helmet without talking a little bit about why use helmets in the first place. The reasons I wear a helmet are the cockpit style, i.e. trusses and bars welded up around your head in fairly close proximity that are very likely to come into contact with your melon should you come to a stop very fast. The type of terrain you're flying over, how hostile it is, if you have to go down without an engine, how likely it is that you'll be able to just land and have a small incident rather than a full-on crash. I don't even know if that's really there's a difference between the two, but the type of terrain does matter. The challenge level of the landings that you do, if you're in the backcountry and you're doing strips that are backcountry strips, there's an elevated level of challenge to normal airport landing. It gets even higher if you're doing mountaintop landings where planes don't typically land, where nothing is typically there. That's a big difference in risk vector to your head when you're flying like that. Another aspect is the emergency response times to where you might land off field. If you're in an area that's incredibly remote, a small injury to your head can become a much bigger threat to your person because it will not get addressed for a very long time. Whereas if you are in a populated area, you'll have emergency responders getting to you a lot faster, right? And those emergency responders will get you to the next level of care, which is, say, a hospital, much faster. And the last thing is putting accessories on your head. Things like headlamps, GoPros, or night vision goggles. I know that's not a huge section of the flying population, but it's out there. It's a lot easier on a helmet. So I have a helmet. What makes me in the market for another helmet? Why would I look to replace it with this bad boy? This is a Team Wendy search and rescue variation. It has an attachment point for nods or cameras or headlamps. It has reflective tape that I put on it that you can get for it, and it is purchasable directly from Team Wendy USA. Now, you can get this whole setup with the headset built in even from Sky Cowboys. A lot of people refer to this helmet as a Sky Cowboys helmet. They group all these parts together, and you can either buy the kit or you can buy the entire helmet built like this for you and just have it shipped to you. And it seems like a pretty good value too. Last I checked, it might even be cheaper to buy it through them that way than to piece together like this. But I bought all the pieces from Team Wendy specifically because I wanted to make sure I got all the accessories that I wanted. This is not unlike a helmet that I would wear when I was in the military. You have all these rails and places that you can attach things if you want to, so I wanted to make sure I understood the whole ecosystem. That's why I went that way. This helmet without anything is about 360 bucks. The visor, which I do have, which I don't have on it right now, but I'll show you some video of it, is a clear visor. It's kind of smaller than this kind of visor. It is about 80 bucks. I bought that so that if I was doing low and slow flying or nighttime flying, wanted protection on my eyes should I crash in branches and whatever, or a bird strike or whatever. The truth is I don't really wear it that much, and I'll go into that a little bit later, one of the reasons I'm looking for a different helmet. These hangers, these sort of adapters, if you will, for a headset to hang off the side of the helmet are about 100 bucks. There's also another adapter you need that Sky Cowboys sells that I believe is 3D printed, specifically for either Lightspeed or Bose headset, that allows it to clip into this Peltor adapter, and that is 75 bucks. So all said and done, the way I built it is about 620 bucks. Like I said, it might be cheaper at Sky Cowboys. I would check their website. You might get a better deal from them. That price is without the Bose headset, I should add. That adds another 1,100 bucks or whatever. I'm pricing it without the headset because you need a headset in either. So you may as well remove that and price them without the headset, because the headset you have to contribute to each of these rigs. It costs the same. So why am I considering going from this, which works really well? I actually love this setup. It's super comfortable and it just works super well. A lot of people like it, and I do too. But why would I consider another helmet? Well, the first one is the visor setup. So the visor on here, which I'll show you footage of, when it's on there, you can only use accessories here when the visor is down over your eyes. If you want to lift up the visor, it rests in this area above the attachment point. The AV2 allows you to pull the visor all the way back to a point where the accessories are mountable even with the visor on it. So you don't have to go to the trouble of either always wearing it with the visor down or completely removing the visor altogether if you want to use an accessory. I think this is going to go a long way toward getting me to use the visor a lot more, particularly the clear visor. If you're a glasses wearer, it'll give you that shaded dark visor that you can wear your glasses underneath this instead of having to wear sunglasses or prescription sunglasses. If you're looking for the clear visor protection for bird strikes or in the event of a crash, branches and everything coming into the cockpit, then you've got that too. Now this helmet has a really cool feature where you can actually have two different types of visors, and this one is magnetically attached where you just pop it off like this, and now you have another visor under here. This one's two dark ones because that's what the demo unit had, but I would have something like a dark visor here and a clear visor there, and you just clip it back on, and it's quick as that. When you're in the cockpit, it really matters to not have to monkey with a lot of stuff to change out your visor color. So in summary, one of the things I want this to do better is to be able to have accessories on with the visor still mounted to the helmet, and this allows me to do that. Next piece is a hypothetical durability of these sort of adapters for this helmet. You know, you have to pop them in and out every time you're putting your helmet on. And over time, I think that would eventually break. Replace them, they're very replaceable, but I tend to feel like I have to be fairly careful with them. On top of that, your headset's totally exposed here too, so, you know, tossing the helmet around the cockpit and whatever, it's gonna ding up the headset. You can already see it's got some scuffs on it. So the portions of this helmet might have durability issues, whereas on the AV, the headset's built inside of the helmet, right? So the helmet's not only protecting your head, but it's also protecting the comms device. And to some degree, the protection is better for your head as well, because the entire ear area is closed, whereas over here you've got an open ear area, and in theory providing you less protection on the sides of your head. To give you some background on this helmet was originally released to the military as a product for the military. When they did that, I thought it was the coolest looking helmet on earth. I still think that. It's such a cool design. It optimizes airflow over your head. It integrates a bunch of pieces that were sort of bolt-on pieces on helmets in the past for the military. And I really hoped that I would be able to have the opportunity to buy one at some point. I've been lucky enough to convince them to send me a demo unit, both for sizing and for just some general familiarization with it, and to make a little video for you guys. One of the things I wanted to size out on this helmet, besides just if it fits my head or not, before I drop a lot of money on a helmet like this, was also its fit inside the cockpit, because I have structure pretty close to my head in the Kitfox, and this helmet just barely fits in there. If I look to my right and down a little bit, it'll come into contact with one of the structural elements. Not horribly so. I obviously can work around it. It's not too big of a deal, but I wanted to make sure that this wasn't even worse, and it turns out it's even better. This helmet is smaller around the outside than this one is, and actually allows me to get more range when I'm doing things like looking down through the door on the Kitfox than I can on this one. So that's a huge plus. This one unfortunately didn't fit me. I have a small head, thought a medium was going to work. My measurements fell within the medium range, but turns out this is too small. So I definitely will have to go up in size for my head, but the outside of the helmet fits in my Kitfox super well, and I'm very happy about that. Let's do some pros and cons on these two helmets to talk about who it might be right for, who it might be wrong for, if it's going to be right for me or not. The first most obvious one is the cost. Now, again, subtracting the headset portion of it, because that's a $1,200 investment in either of these, you have to supply the headset. This helmet costs, $500 to $600, give or take. This helmet costs something like $3,200 without the headset. That's a very, very big difference. And one of the reasons why I'm glad this exists, because most people, if cost is a factor, you're just not going to protect your head. But that is a very real decision-making point for a helmet like this, which is a no expenses spared device designed for the military, who everybody knows is a spender, and anybody that wants it is going to pay that same price. When it comes to the features that set these apart from one another, it's a closed versus open helmet type. The visor system is obviously a huge difference between these two visor systems. This one I found incredibly finicky, kind of hard to get on there. You can't have two different colors at the same time, and isn't a bad visor when you're using it. The clarity is pretty good, but it's just not a terrific implementation, whereas this has obviously been thought out incredibly well and has been designed to not only work well with multiple visor types, shaded, dark, clear at the same time, but also with helmet accessories without having to remove the visor. That's a big deal. It also is going to be good for anybody that needs to use a mask. It's got integrated, plug-in points for an oxygen mask, etc. So they put a lot into that piece, and that's a big advantage in this helmet. The materials are also very different. This is like an injection molded plastic or something with sort of a styrofoam, like a bike helmet type of a thing, lining it for protection. Not saying it's bad protection in any way, but it's less sophisticated than this, which is obviously all carbon fiber with a sort of a mesh waffle configuration to reduce weight. Full disclosure, I haven't evaluated either of these helmets for crash protection or impact protection or any of that, so I'm not going to pretend to tell you that I have data to compare these two from that perspective. I think they're probably both very protective, and they are certainly more protective than nothing. When it comes to the function of the helmets, I think there's a lot of crossover where they both are good at the same things. There are some areas though that one does better than the other one. When it comes to high G or high altitude ops, this is obviously a helmet designed for that kind of environment. It's designed to keep the headset on your ears if you're doing aerobatics or something that's going to pull G's and want to drag the ear cups off your ears. It's designed to accept an oxygen mask, so if you're flying at high altitudes in an unpressurized cockpit, you can wear an oxygen mask with this helmet. It's harder to get that set up over here. But if you want a helmet that's very multifunctional, this kind of helmet is exactly the same kind of helmet that you might use for search and rescue operations, hence the name. It's very similar and related to Team Wendy's combat helmet line, and very similar to what I used in the Army to be able to go into combat with all kinds of stuff attached to the helmet and protect your head at the same time. So if you want to use this helmet for something besides aviation, you could very easily pull these accessories off, and now you have a helmet that you can, strap on, attach a headlamp, or whatever else you want to, and go out into the wilderness and use it for that. Comfort is hard for me to fully evaluate because this helmet is too small for me, so it's squeezed quite badly. But when I take the ear cups out and just judge the crown of the helmet, it's perfect. It fits super well. So assuming that the ear cups are far enough away from my ears, i.e. the helmet shell is the right size, I think these are both going to be extremely comfortable. This is very comfortable. I have really no hot spots after wearing it for long periods of time. I've flown for literally hours on end with it on. It doesn't get very hot either. You'd think, you know, in the Kit Fox that has like the greenhouse roof on it where you can get really cooked in there. I'm never really super hot because of the helmet. Okay, for the sake of comfort, I have removed the ear cups, the sort of placeholder headset demo stuff. These are supposed to like represent Bose A20s, but it's too tight with those on. So I have them removed just so that it doesn't absolutely crush my head while I test this out. But I'm gonna jump in the cockpit here of the Kit Fox and kind of, we can see together how much room I have around my head while inside the cockpit. All right, so I am in the Kit Fox now, and as you can see, I actually have a ton of room. Normally when I look down this way on the door, my head will start impacting this spot right here. On my other helmet, it'll just dink and it'll stop me right about here, and I'll have to just kind of like look down like this to look any further, or kind of move back a bit. But in this case, I can basically put my head all the way down like I normally would, very naturally, and it doesn't impact anything until the door, where, you know, I basically have to work at it. So this helmet is actually smaller on the outside than my other helmet, which is a surprise to me. I thought it was going to be bigger. Super cool, because in a small, tight cockpit like this, to increase your head mobility is a big deal. Super nice. Here's the visor in action, and the mic, just like that. Is this overkill in a Kit Fox? I don't think so. So I figured while I'm here, I would put on my current helmet and show you kind of how the difference in size. I think you can already see it, that it's quite a bit bigger, especially on the top. I can literally feel like the fingers distance from the top of the glass to the helmet. Not that I would ever hit that top of the glass, but you'll see if I look down like this, this is where I stop. I can't look all the way down the way I can in the other helmet, because I'm coming into contact with the structure here like that. So pretty quickly come into contact with this part of the airplane, which demonstrates how important a helmet would be in the case of a crash. You can see all these spars up here. These structural elements of the airplane are very close to my head. And so if you were to roll around, it gets bent in, gets pushed in through trees or whatever, it'll be helpful to have a helmet on. But you can definitely see the size difference, which I didn't realize was quite as significant as it is. And how this helmet generally looks in the Kit Fox. So there you have it. There is a quick introduction to my helmet and the helmet I'm considering moving to. There are other helmets out there, I should add. These aren't the only two available for the aviation community. These two are the only ones that I really have been interested in. We can talk about that in another video, but I just wanted to show you guys this incredibly cool offering from Lift Aviation. It is straight out of a fighter pilot's cockpit, which is probably the biggest part of the appeal for me, but it does have some advantages over this helmet, but is much more expensive. So will I switch from this helmet to this helmet? I'm not sure yet, to be honest, but I will update you guys when I make a decision, and we can talk more about helmets if you want. I highly recommend them. Keep your head on your shoulders in the event of an emergency, and they do a lot of other stuff besides. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll do my best to answer them in the comment section below. Until next time, see ya.